Let's switch gears and to some of the stories that we have so far. And as pupils across the country sit for their first KCPE exams on Monday morning, those from Karne Primary School in Baringo South were disrupted with the startling sounds of firing. Gunshot rented the air as bandits launched attacks on villages in the area. Teachers were forced to calm the traumatized students before continuing with their exams. The areas of Kosum and Karne have now remained deserted after residents fled for their lives. Ruth Samway tells us more.
Just a few minutes after pupils start their mathematics exams at Karne Primary School in Baringo South, a neighboring village came under attack.
Upon the onset of the exams, bandits started striking from behind the school, just around 3 kilometers from the school. And the gunshots were heard by the students in the class.
The firing is said to have continued for about an hour.
These students were traumatized. They were recalled for the KCPE from various schools. They were spread for over 8 schools. So through the government's order, they were gathered here purposely for the exam.
Following the attack, residents fled their homes.
Na sisi wenyewe tunahama mama ya hao watu wenye wako kwa madarasa. Sasa tunaona kweli tunaelekea wapi?
Leo asubuhi tumefahamiwa na wakora, wamechomea watu manyumba, wamefungia wengine wa nyuma kule Kusum, hata mpaka sasa hatujui ni nini inaendelea huko.
Basically our students now are the last people here, and we were appealing to the Ministry of Education through the government to maybe relocate them tomorrow, because these are people who can decide to come and even strike here tomorrow.
A few officers were left to maintain calm at the institution, as others left to combat with the assailants.
The security officers are trying, but they are overwhelmed by the bandits. So it is an issue which the government has to consider. Otherwise, most of the schools in this region will be closed totally. And the bandits are burning houses just to ensure that nobody comes back to those houses.
In the evening, the children were released to reconnect with their families who had scampered for safety. Tomorrow, pupils from the 3 schools will be required to report to a center to sit the rest of their exams.
Watoto hawana simu. Sasa baada ya hapa hata wengine hawajui watapatana na wazazi wapi. Itabidi waanze kutafuta wazazi mahali wameenda, na hata kupatikana kwao kesho inaweza kuwa ni shida kwa sababu hawajui watalala wapi.
Since the attacks, the bandits have taken over Kapindasum, Sinoni, Kasiela, Arabal, Kapkechir, Lamaiwe and Tuyotich villages in Mochongoi area.
Tunashindwa hii risasi ambayo inamwagwa kama maji, ambayo watu wanafukuzwa naye kama wanyama, imetoka wapi?
What is happening in Mochongoi is no longer cattle rustling. It is no longer robbery. What is happening in Mochongoi is massacre.
Pupils from Sinoni and Kasiela primary schools sitting their exams at Mochongoi Mixed Secondary School were forced to start their exams 30 minutes late after candidates who had fled following Saturday's attack arrived late. This is despite the government's provision of food and accommodation at the center. Fear is still rife in the area, with the 9 victims that succumbed to fighting over the weekend yet to be buried. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV.
And let's stay with the same. And despite the insecurity in Baringo, students countrywide will spend the next 3 days undertaking their KCPE exams, as Ministry of Education officials warn politicians to keep their campaigns off school grounds. Over 1.2 million candidates are sitting for their exams in 28,316 examination centers. Gina Kirori has more on how the examinations unfolded in different parts of the country.
The crack of dawn would see Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha officially open the container holding the Kenya Certificate of Primary Examination papers for Kakamega County. Magoha promising that the exams will be fair and giving reassurance that none of the papers have leaked. This following reports that some teachers had attempted to steal the exams and share them.
It is very shameful for bona fide teachers to be just waiting for the exam to post there to share. And we are watching them.
Politicians have also been warned.
There shall be no political gathering in any school in the Republic during the examination period.
Magoha's sentiments on integrity were echoed by Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who was at Kithimani area, Machakos.
When it comes to engaging in serious exercises such as this, we work together for the good of our children and for the good of our country.
In Kisii County, a female student who had given birth at the Kisii Level 5 hospital sat for her exams at the health facility. Kisii County has a total of 698 examination centers. Only one incident was reported at one of the centers.
In Kiongongo Primary School in Kitutu Central, where we had a fire incident at 2:30 a.m., we are told that the fire started from an accident in one of the classrooms next to the library.
None of the students were injured, as they had all left for home when the fire broke out. In Nakuru, 23 out of the 30 inmates from the Nakuru GK prisons diligently sat for their mathematics and English language papers today, under tight security. The youngest of the group being a 17-year-old minor offender registered at a primary school in Kuresoi North. The oldest of the group is a 45-year-old man. Last year, 28 students had sat for the paper, with the top candidate scoring 358 marks. In Kwale County, 2 pregnant students sat for the exams at Msambweni Referral Hospital after they gave birth at the facility last night. And in the county of Kirinyaga, a total of 26,776 candidates are sitting for their exams.
Wazazi, viongozi wa makanisa, wanasiasa wote to support hii kazi of administering the exams so that we post good results.
In Embu County, the distribution of 2021 KCPE materials kicked off smoothly in the 296 centers. The county commissioner said the government had distributed foodstuffs in the 2 semi-arid sub-counties of Mbeere South and North. The exams end on Wednesday, 9th March 2022. Ngena Kirori, NTV.
And elsewhere, Ukraine will square off with Russia at the United Nations top court, with Kyiv asking judges in The Hague to order Moscow to immediately halt its invasion. Kyiv launched an urgent case at the International Court of Justice on February 27th, saying that Russia had illegally justified its war by falsely alleging genocide in Ukraine's Donetsk and Lugansk regions. Meanwhile, Russia has announced that it will open humanitarian corridors to allow for the evacuation of civilians from several Ukrainian cities experiencing heavy fighting.
The Russian Defense Ministry has announced that there will be a regime of silence from 10 a.m. on March 7th and the opening of humanitarian corridors in order to allow civilians to cross over into safer territory or across the Ukrainian borders into neighboring EU states. It listed evacuation routes from the capital Kyiv, as well as Mariupol, Kharkiv and Sumy, all of which have been under heavy Russian attacks in recent days. Moscow has said the decision was taken after a personal request by French President Emmanuel Macron to Russia's Vladimir Putin. Moscow says that it has informed the United Nations, the OSCE and the international organizations of the corridors and called on Ukraine to strictly fulfill all the conditions of the evacuations. The relentless fire has pushed more than 1.5 million people across Ukraine's borders as refugees, with many others displaced internally or trapped in cities being reduced to rubble by Russian bombardment. Ukraine alleges that it is Russia that is planning acts of genocide in the offensive launched by President Vladimir Putin on February 24th. Kyiv is asking the International Court of Justice to take provisional measures ordering Russia to immediately suspend the military operations, pending a full judgment that could take years. In an unusual step, ICJ President Joan Donoghue issued an urgent communication to Russia on March 1st asking it to act in such a way that any order could take effect quickly. The 2-day hearing at the ICJ's Peace Palace headquarters will begin with Ukraine speaking on Monday. Russia is slated to reply on Tuesday.
And elsewhere, rights groups addressed underage marriage of Morocco's marginalized girls. Najat Ikish, head of the White Rights Group, which has been working for more than 10 years to combat underage marriage, led a visit to the Berber-speaking village of Tamagost in southern Morocco to raise awareness about the social issues and promote greater autonomy for the women living in the marginalized areas. And to a very disturbing story, and 16 people have been arrested over the sexual assault of a female motorist that took place on Friday last week. An amateur video which went viral on social media has elicited an uproar from Kenyans, including authorities. Naoma Sampao has that story.
This was part of the disturbing 1-minute video that captured a female motorist being sexually assaulted by several men said to be boda boda riders. The Nairobi area traffic commandant Joshua Omukata confirmed the incident and said that the 32-year-old recorded her statement today and arrests have been made.
The incident took place on Friday at around 5 p.m. where this female motorist was driving her car from Limuru side. On reaching Barabaratano, an accident occurred where she knocked a pedestrian who was seriously injured. In that event, she stopped, and in her stopping, she was accosted by the border borders.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i took to his Twitter handle to condemn the incident and urged the perpetrators are suitably punished.
That 16 border borders, 5 motorcycles have already been impounded. The 16 riders are in cells at Parklands police station, and the operation still goes on. I want to most sincerely appeal to the public, and especially those ones around that area, to bring us the information so that we are able to arrest more. And this is for the purposes of deterring such incidences in future.
Kenyans have called on the authorities to streamline the boda sector. Naoma Sampao, NTV.
That is just so sad and difficult to watch, and we sure hope that justice will be served. Now, the month of March honors the special place women hold in the society. In West Pokot County, we meet Caroline Menach, a lady who is actively engaging in farming and agribusiness to enable her community have food closer to home, while she empowers other women to become self-sufficient. Leila Mohammed brings us her story on this International Women's Day.
In the midst of the Pokot hinterlands lies a fertile piece of land. The greenery of this banana plantation sits in an area that has recently suffered due to the effects of climate change.
West Pokot County is a relatively dry county. 20% of it is highland and 80% is dry, majorly on the lowland. And you find that right now, even in the highland region, there's a lot of deforestation.
But this has not hindered Caroline Menach from pursuing her dreams of enabling the region become food secure.
In Pokot community, women are left with lots of tasks. And also they are to fend for the families, meaning that if they do not have that ability, maybe to have many goats and cattle, you find that women go to an extent of cutting the forest to get firewood to sell or make charcoal.
Caroline has become a champion of preserving the forests and works towards increasing forest cover while giving other women in the community the education needed for them to adopt environmentally friendly economic activities that yield results.
Through this destruction of the forest, erosion will come in. So there is need for our women to be told the alternative, which is embracing planting of trees and raising the nurseries and planting these trees and also having the fruit trees.
Most of the gender roles that are associated with women are those that depend mostly on nature and natural resources and ecosystem services that the environment is able to provide. So that brought on the aspect of how do we support women to adapt to climate change, support the climate mitigation measures, and also get resilience to climate-related shocks.
The running or moving of animals from one point to the other one, that should stop now because the land is becoming small, and therefore we need to embrace zero grazing or keeping of few animals which are more productive and also to their farms.
As part of the Imara program, supported by the World Vision Kenya, women like Caroline learn skills that they pass over to other women in their communities for the benefit of the larger community.
They are the heroes that we are seeing transforming communities through the activities that they are doing. And with the multiple streams of income coming in, the women are able to provide for their families.
Caroline says that if the women in the community work with their husbands in tilling the land and adopting a different approach to farming, then soon enough what has been the norm over the past ages of cattle rustling and bloodshedding will be a thing of the past. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
That is so beautiful, and of course it is a beautiful transition to the conversation of the day, and that is on this International Women's Day. And of course we just want to look at the successes, the progress that we've made, and what do we need to do to make sure that, again, women, number one, not only have an opportunity but also thrive in the opportunities that they're given, but also those ones who are still shying away from taking advantage of these opportunities also feel encouraged to rise up and exercise their full potential. So on set to, of course, help us with the discussion today, we have Nakulo Kaimia, who's a marketing and communications manager. Thank you very much for coming by today. She actually cycled 320 kilometers from Nairobi to Moshi and also ran for 21 kilometers at the Kilimanjaro Marathon. How? We're still like, how? That was amazing. That was amazing. So really, really good job. And thank you very much for coming by today. We look forward to understand more about, you know, the entire journey that is, you know, you cycling and also participating in a marathon. How was it for you? Was it like tough or, you know, all those things? But we'll get into that discussion in a moment. And we also have Dr. Shiko Gitau, who's the CEO, Carla. And you were also recently appointed to the COVID-19 ICT Advisory Committee, which was set up by, again, CS Joe Musheru. Thank you very much for coming by today. Women really doing amazing things out here, and we're so proud of you. Thank you for coming by today. And we also have Dr. Edna Ngeno, who's head of wellness, Jubilee Health Insurance. Thank you very much for coming by today. You're a medical doctor, certified corporate wellness specialist, wellness, like the list is long, wellness influencer, public speaker, women and children welfare promoter, all those titles behind you. Again, it's just amazing to see women doing amazing things. And of course, later on, we'll be joined by Judy Mohoro, who's the CEO, Infinity Tech International. And it's really interesting how we have like different women from different fields, you know, to just have this discussion. But before we focus on your journeys to where you are right now, all of you, again, that video that, you know, went viral yesterday, very difficult video to watch. I just want you to react to the same, like watching it. Did you watch it? I'll start with you, Nakulo.
Yeah, I watched the video and it was so disturbing, and I was like, you know, these are things that happen on a day-to-day basis, and people take it as a joke. Even when you look amongst your friends, even the male friends you're around with, these are things that usually happen, but they just brush it off. Even people make fun jokes on social media, and you see those are your friends, and they might be thinking those are jokes they are making, but in real sense, it's not jokes. So I think it's just high time the male friends or men can really come out and support us ladies, yeah? Let's not make jokes out of anything and everything that is happening, especially to us ladies, so that at least we just get rid of these monsters that are amongst us.
Absolutely.
So yesterday's video, unfortunately, it happened last week,
Yes.
but it had to be recorded on video for people to react.
And it's just so sad because suppose the video was not recorded,
Exactly.
we would have not known
Yeah,
that
because
happened.
I remember there was someone who was saying, why was video recorded in the first instance? And I was like, you know what? If people just heard about it, people will be like, where's the evidence?
Yes.
And then we would have moved on swiftly from that. Yeah, that was such an unfortunate
It really
incident.
was. It really was. And just difficult to, it's very chilling to watch and makes you question how safe are we, you know, in our own country, in our own streets, how safe are we? And then for you, Dr. Shiko.
So I was disturbed. I feel like I wanted to unsee it because that scream could not get out of my head.
Yeah.
The person who recorded it, I don't think they did it for the best of the person who was being recorded, but they did. They started a conversation. So in every WhatsApp group I am in every not on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, Twitter, it's the primary conversation. So it started a conversation, and I'm happy it started a conversation during this Women's Month and especially on the eve of Women's Day, because we are having a proper conversation on how safe are women. And before we move the log in the Boda Boda guys' eyes, let's look at our own log. How many times do you mob justice a woman on Twitter? Because that's the exact same thing that happened to that
other
woman.
one is more physical.
Yeah, and this is physical, but the trauma is almost similar. It's just that this person was being recorded. But how many times do we see a woman and we just strip them down on Twitter, on Instagram, on all these places? We have to, as you're pointing the torches, and I'm hoping action will be done. I was so happy that the Chief Justice was like, we have to follow this through. So it's coming from like the judiciary, from the police, from the human rights people. There's a march happening at the moment outside Nairobi. I'm happy it's happening, but I'm hoping that we can also point the torch back to ourselves and say, when I'm tweeting or I'm stripping a woman down on Twitter, I have to remember that scream in my head.
You can't unsee it. And I'm with you. I watched it and I could not. I could not, you know. And you see, we can't unsee it. Dr. Judy, you said I could not. I mean, Edna. Dr. Edna, you could not watch it.
Okay, to be honest, being a women and child advocate, I don't like watching things that really, and a wellness person, mess up my mind. Sometimes there's too much I'm seeing in Ukraine already. I see the children, and I made a vow to myself, if I happen to hear something that someone has done that is horrible, I'll not watch it. I'll just take the information because it disturbs me for really long. And unfortunately, I become very, I start looking at those people very badly. So you must be very sure if I watched it, the Boda Boda riders, I don't know. I even don't know what I'll be doing. But to speak something else about how we look at women, and you put, what if it was a man doing that? Okay, I mean, men, they're also drivers like the women.
True.
And something happens with these Boda Boda riders. What would have happened? Would they have been stripped down?
No.
Is it because they have more masculine strength so they can fight? Is it that, you know, they had to look for the most and the most weakest point of weakness, you know, of a woman to just strip them naked? I saw my sister, I'm hearing and I'm imagining my sister, I'm imagining my friend, I'm imagining my cousin out there, and it's just not okay. It's really, really not okay. But then I'm also thinking, it goes back to also look at what we are going on in society. That era was not so big to strip someone naked, yeah? So are people extremely mentally disturbed? Did people leave their homes with horrible relationships? You know, it just speaks so much as a society
yes.
that I think the nation now needs to start looking at beyond, yes, we need justice, but then beyond that,
exactly.
what else is underlying?
To stop the same
what else is down here that is, you might even find those are the same people who've left women in the house beaten as well. Yeah. So it really speaks a lot as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it really does. And we hope that, again, this one incident, of course, there's several, you know, that happen probably on a daily basis. And we hope that something would be done to just stop, you know, all these things from happening. And for us as a people, as a society, just see each other as human beings, you know, not like you're a man, you're a woman, we're human beings, you know, so that we treat each other with respect. Anyway, that was just so heavy. I really, yeah.
But the most disturbing thing for me was, where were other people? It is Forest Road. There's always traffic on Forest Road. Where are the other people? What happened to us as human beings that somebody is screaming like that and nobody offered to help? In my head, I still can't reconcile that, because if you hear that kind of scream, it should push you to some form of action.
In a moment. Anyways, let's switch the conversation, because it's really, really heavy, and we're calling out these vices in the society. Treat each other with respect. It doesn't matter, woman, man, child, all of us should respect one another. But we're here today celebrating women, International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day to all of you, first of all, before we continue with the discussion. And like I said, it's amazing to have all of you, different, you know, places of work, different, it's very diverse. And at the end of the day, we're women, and here we are, and you're doing amazing, you're thriving in all the areas, you know, of your work. But I also want to understand how you got there in the first place. And I'll start with you, Nakulo. You are in the corporate, right? And also here you are cycling, doing amazing, cycling 320 kilometers. Like, wow, okay, good job, first of all, for that. But let's just start with you as a marketer and a communications manager, right? How did you get yourself there, and how is it working for you? Do you enjoy it? Do you not? What is your experience in your field?
Okay. In terms of my field as a communication and marketing industry, I think this is just something that is inbuilt. Even amongst my friends, like even today, I know I was coming for cycling conversation and International Women's Day, and I was like, the reason why I'm cycling, it's because of Pedalwise, and that's why I'm rocking a Pedalwise jersey, So it's something that it's just inbuilt. I love seeing brand. I love seeing brand thriving. Especially when I see where it's coming from and when I see the vision, like what's the end game? What is the goal for this brand? So I'm very good when it comes to brand building, and especially when I get the tools and ways of how to position this brand to the right market. So as a communication and marketing profession, I thought I'm an outdoor person, because when it comes to fitness, truth be told, you'll not find me in a gym at 4 a.m. in the morning that I'm running to the gym and doing those. I hate routine. So the reason why I'm into outdoor space, it's because there's always something new, something exciting, meeting people and stuff like that. And you know, as a communication and marketing profession, you know, when you get out there, that's when you get to learn people, what they love, what they don't like, how do you position yourself, how do you position a brand you represent, because I work for a mobile device company, and we sell fitness devices like the wearables and stuff like that. So when I'm in the space of cycling, when I'm in the space of running, this is where my target is. This is where the market is.
Merge together.
So I'm merging fun at the same time, applying my professional capability. So when I talk to these people, when I interact with them, I'll ask them, what smartwatch are you using? And then they tell me I'm using, what do you, because you get to meet people who are very green when it comes to the kind of gadgets they're using. So that is my opportunity now to tell them, look here, I represent this brand, and this is what I can be able to offer. So I bring in the fun aspect of it,
but and also profession. Okay, and we have some of your pictures, you know, right there. You actually where you're cycling, right? I want you to take us through that process. Like, where did the idea come? Like, how did you find yourself there cycling for, you know? From Mombasa to Moshi, like, I mean...
From Nairobi to
From
Moshi.
Nairobi, yes.
Okay, so as I've told you, I belong to Pedalers Club. That
Yes.
is the club that are representing the jersey.
Yeah.
This is a club that just started as a joke in 2020 when COVID happened.
Yeah.
And guys were like, so what can I do? What can we do over and above just what we usually do? And you
Yeah.
remember guys were like, do not get out, do not go to the gym, do not do, But you see some of us, we are
You
always
gym,
up and down.
You and gym is like this and this.
Exactly. And then, you know, the profession I'm in, marketing and comms, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
There's so much that you need to at least you need to get something that will get
You
you
have
out there so that you're
deadlines,
in your
yes.
own space. Yeah. So when my friends reached out, they were like, Nahulo, are you available? We go for cycling. I had bought a bike in 2016.
Yeah.
And I'll do 20 km and I'm like, wow, I've achieved. I'll go to Karura Forest, cycle. I'm like, wow, I've achieved.
Yeah.
You know? Then they're like, let's get out. And I'm like, on the roads, I don't think I can be able. I'm not confident.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm a woman.
Yes.
Yeah. And women, the first thing you're like, security, safety.
Yes.
Yeah. Are people going to harass me and stuff like
Yes.
that? But you see now, because we were a group of friends and it was just fun rides and stuff like that, so our male friends will be like, just come. We will be able to protect you.
Oh, good.
And that is something that has helped me grow as where I am. So we started in 2020 as Pedalo Cycling Club.
Okay.
We've been doing strictly fun cycling. We go to each town and do, we are not elites who want to compete and stuff, but
Alright.
among us, there are people who want to compete. Yeah.
Alright.
So now the Kili Marathon idea came about last year, because I remember last year, the other year, when did COVID start? In 2020. Last year was 2021.
Yes.
And guys were like, they're not quite sure whether they can be able to travel out of the country because it was a bit whatever. So we were like, so can we just try it? Because we are a group of runners. We are outdoor people. We run, we cycle, we do all kinds of things.
Alright.
So we're like, we cannot miss Kili. And then we're like, we will not just travel the way we usually travel to Kili. Why can't we combine it with cycling? And guys were like, wow. Is that even an idea? Is
right?
it something
like
that is going to happen? Yeah. And then one of us who is always, you know, like, you guys, we
The
can
thrill.
do it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys, we can do it. So we mobilized each other and we're like, let's do it. Why can't we do it? So let's do up to whatever point, and then we're surprised. All of us, we were 4 ladies and then 10 gentlemen.
Yeah.
So we're 14 of us who went for the first, that is last year. And then this year, again, we did it, but this time around we were 26
wow.
people.
You got
Out
more
of it, we had 5 ladies. So you can
Nice.
guess why
Right?
the ratio of men
Right?
to
To
women
women.
is a little bit, because as we are thinking about safety,
Yeah.
we are thinking about, am I comfortable? And those are some of the things also. I hope I'll come to that point where some of the challenges we face as female cyclists.
Yes, well,
so
actually look
so
at
in a
that.
nutshell,
That
that is how.
That was really amazing. You know, I was just looking at 300. First of all, I do not want to embarrass myself on national television, but I cannot cycle to save my life. You too? Oh, I am happy. I am not alone. You can do it. Okay, here's the thing. My brothers used to tell me, and I'm calling them out on TV. They were like, yeah, unataka kujua kuendesha baiskeli, utaanguka, utavunjika mguu. So me, I'm thinking, nivunjike tu mguu ya kuendesha baiskeli. No thanks. But now here you are, an inspiration. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we can actually do it.
Anything is possible. And when it comes to these recreational activities, I run and I cycle, but I enjoy cycling to run.
More. We'll look
Yeah,
for you, like
I
the three of
enjoy
us.
cycling to running.
Yeah.
I know it gives you, like, you see nowadays, once I started cycling and focusing on roads more, and then I could put myself into the motorist. You see now, when I get back behind my wheel, when I'm driving, I start imagining, if I spot a cyclist or a pedestrian, I'm like, wow, it will be me
You need
there.
to- yes.
So it makes me to be a little bit
more
careful when I'm now driving.
Nice.
Yeah. When I spot a cyclist, I'll be able to shield them. And if you see most of these cycling people in the cycling community who drive, you'll see they'll be more cautious on the road.
Yeah.
They'll come,
'Cause you
shield
know.
fellow cyclists, do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it makes you to be a little bit extra, is it compassion or something like that?
Yes.
Because motorists sometimes can be something else when they spot cyclists
on
and when
the
they spot
road.
all these kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll look for you. Maybe we can start classes. Right?
Yeah.
All right. And then for you, Dr. Shiko, again, CEO Kala, right? And I know for so many women with the title CEO, hey, there's a bit of, who you? She must have done something, or she must be kichwa nguvu, you know, or she must be, you know, this kind of person for her to get that title. for you, how did you get there?
Wow, I always tell people I didn't. Everybody always says, oh, you have a plan in your life, you're going to do this. I always said my being a CEO is a God plan because I left my previous job and I took some time off. I think I took almost two months actually off, just trying to think what next for next. And I remember my PhD advisor calling me and saying, well, here you're looking for a job. I said, yeah. I said, okay, I am either going to give you a job or I'm going to give you a first client. And I'm like, my first client, what do you mean? And he's like, you've worked so hard. I know he's known me for, this is going to age me clearly. I've known you for more than 10 years. So I know what drives you, and you get frustrated when you're not able to achieve some of these things because you're in a corporate setting. Why don't you try setting up something that you're able to achieve some of these things? What he didn't say is how hard it is running a company, hiring people, firing people, people being angry at you, people not paying you, all those things. But I have fun. I always say I wouldn't change my job today for anything. Because it is a way of influencing the next generation. I always say, for me, my role as a CEO is being able to influence our next generation, especially the Gen Zs, who we are being told is a character development for employers everywhere. I mean, they drive you crazy. Sometimes they talk to you. You go and sit down with your tears and you're thinking, I am such an unperformer, because they ask you questions and you're thinking, I don't have the answers for that. But for me, that is, how do I get here? I'm a computer scientist by profession, by passion.
One of the professions that is mostly associated with the male.
And yesterday 2 days ago, I was complaining to somebody because Kenyan universities are watering down computer science and they're taking IT over computer science. And while there's merit to having more IT graduates, computer science is founded on theory of computing. And if we don't teach our kids how to do the theory of computing, I think we are cheating the future from our kids. And we can, a lot of things from when I did my undergraduate to now have changed. I always tell people, if I showed my current team what I did for my undergraduate, even what I did for my PhD, they were like, you actually graduated with that? What is that? But it used to be novel at the time I was doing it. So I am a geek. I love solving problems using mathematics. So my base is maths. I had an amazing maths teacher. I always call her out. She passed away a few years ago. She is called Mrs. Lois Koile. I always say, by saying it, maybe her children or her relatives will feel like she changed somebody's life. She did change my life. And she encouraged me a lot around, you do maths very well in high school. You are a good mathematician. And eventually, when I was finishing high school, I thought I was going to be a maths teacher or a mathematician, because I really enjoyed doing maths in high school. I was one of those kids who actually enjoyed doing maths. And when I went to uni, I went to ANU, African Nazarene University here. They had 3 programs. I always say this. Now they have many programs. When I started, they had 3 programs. They had theology, commerce, and computer science. And for me, when I looked at the maths, the computer science curriculum,
spoke to you.
It was maths, like maths, statistics, maths, calculus, maths. I'm like, oh, this is just, it was created for me. And after I did my undergraduate, I had what I would say my quarter life existential crisis. I had to apply. How do you apply computing in real life problems? It's not a matter of just writing code. It's about how do I solve problems. For me, that was very important. That's why I went to graduate school to learn that. I learned under a fantastic mentor and teacher, Jonathan, Don, and Gary. And Gary also passed away a few years ago. And they trained me, how do you, don't think of technology first, think about the problem first. And that's why I say the theory of computing is what I feel I miss from when I hire people is look at the problem first, understand the problem,
and then find solutions.
And then find a solution, and that solution might be technology and might not be technology. And that's how I ended up being here. So I worked for Microsoft, Google, and other people, and eventually came back home to try and change the world at home.
I like that. I like that. Hey, math, eh?
Yes. Girls can do math.
I'm always fascinated. Like, I'm always tempted to ask people who love math and are really good at math, like the most complicated, like 550-something thousand times, just to see how fast they can get it, but I'm not going to do that to you today. And then for you, Dr. Edna, as well. Again, head of wellness at Jubilee Health Insurance, but of course, you started out as a medical doctor, right? Again, like one of the most difficult, quote unquote, because it's not too difficult, here you are, today. difficult fields as well. So, of course, went to school, studied the same, and here you are today. Did your parents, or let's say your peers, you know, be like, "We're a nurse"? Because you see, nurse is more associated with women. Doctor, surgeon is more associated with the men, right? Did you ever had, you know, those moments, or you yourself probably had those moments?
No, I never had those moments.
Yeah.
But of course, society had those moments for me.
Yes.
And not my family. My
Yeah.
family, I think, my mom keeps saying that I said I wanted to be a doctor. That's what she said I said.
Nice.
So I assume that's what I said because clearly here I am.
Yes.
And I love it. I
Yeah.
actually love being a doctor, despite being in the corporate world right now. But also what I'm doing is still related to medicine. It's just that it's on the other side, it's on the human side, which is why I really wanted to do medicine.
Yeah.
I'm those people who look at vices in the world and I'm like, no, change
We
agent.
need to do something.
Yeah, we need to do something. So my going into medicine was based on that. It was, you know, there's something fundamentally wrong with how we either do our things, how we either eat or the water we take, or something is fundamentally wrong. And there needs to be a solution. At that time, the solution that was there is, you know, you need to be a doctor. And for me, it was more of the health sector. So that's where I was. And as I continued doing my medicine, it's been, okay, as I also am about to age myself. So it's been about 13 years since I last graduated.
Okay.
So that one has been, you know, moving from one hospital to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
And working for the Ministry of Health, and then to Nairobi Hospital and many others, including running my own business. So when Shiko talks about being a CEO, I'm like, yeah, I know. It's really something else.
Yes.
Yeah. But yes, society, you know, when you go to, say, for example, when I started in Malindi, you know, the nurses, like the male nurses, even the female nurses, they can also wear lab coats like doctors once in a while, depending on where they are and what kind of employer they have.
Okay.
So at the government, sometimes you may find them also wearing lab coats. You may find even the lab technicians wearing lab coats. I mean, all of us in the health sector can wear lab coats.
All right.
So this lady, I remember very well, I went to take care of her and she tells me, daktari ameniambia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm thinking,
but I'm
the only
doctor.
I'm the doctor here. So I'm wondering, so who was this? So I'm like, okay, fine. But I think you should do 1, 2, 3. She said, no.
Daktari amesema.
Goja daktari akuje. So she could not relate me, a female. Maybe I also looked young, I don't know. But she couldn't relate that to that you're a doctor. Or you can even say something else that is above what the male has said.
Yes.
And you know it's Malindi. And Malindi, you can get ladies from all over. Some of them have given birth to 8 children, 9 children. So I'm trying to say, you know, where they're actually coming from. And some of them are also not educated. They didn't get that opportunity to do so. And I also think also they've not given their children that opportunity. And they've probably not imagined themselves beyond where they are. Yeah. So, okay, so you forgive her. And just tell her, you know, mimi ndio daktari. You know.
It's like you have to try convince
it took
them
the
so
other
much.
male nurse to come, and you know, so I asked him, so what did you say? We said 1, 2, 3. So I'm like, no, let's do 1, 2, 3, okay? Then the male nurse said, okay. That's when she now got the confidence that we're going to do what I said, we're going to do, and not the other one. So there are times society paints for you something, and yeah, anyway, we are here.
We're here today. And of course, it's all about #breaking the bias today. So even as we celebrate International Women's Day, and we're saying, do you have that woman or those women in your life that you celebrate who brought a change, who impacted your life in one way or the other? The numbers are down there on your screen. So feel free to give us a call anytime, or to make it even better for you, you can send us their number and then we call them and give them your message, all right, on your behalf as far as what is it about them that you really, really celebrate. But also feel free to interact with us on Twitter at NTV Kenya at Lubembe_Winnie. We have established ground. We're taking a break, but of course, when we come back, we also want to understand the challenges that are there, and especially for women in different roles and leadership as well. You do not want to miss part B of this conversation. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. Glad you're still with us. The show is Your World, and today it's a special episode because it is International Women's Day. So if you have not maybe heard this from me, happy International Women's Day to all the women who are watching us today. And we're asking you, who is that woman or women who have impacted your life and you want to celebrate them today? Feel free to interact with us at NTV Kenya at Lubembe_Winnie. You want to call in and maybe share the message live on TV. Again, that is the provision that we have. So feel free to use the numbers down on your screen, give us a call, or you want us to surprise them on your behalf, feel free to do so as well. Send us their number and then we'll call them and we'll share your message with them. But right about now, let's hear what you have to say as far as some of the women that you are celebrating today. So Edwait Jiminali says, there will be no us without you women. Happy International Women's Day. Oh, thank you. And someone else says, Sylvia Salone says, I love them so much. Oh, thank you. And then someone else says, this is Michael Mutunga says, 1 Samuel chapter 25 verse 3 says, in the name of his wife Abigail, and she was a woman of good understanding and of a beautiful countenance. All right. And then someone else says, this is a Lord David says, I love you, Mama. May God continue protecting you. All right. Thank you very much for those. And of course, keep tweeting at NTV Kenya at Lubembe_Winnie. Who is that special woman that you are celebrating today? And also tell us how she has impacted your life. And if you want us to surprise them on your behalf, again, feel free to do so. Send us their number. We'll call them and we'll share your message with them on this International Women's Day. But of course, we also have women, amazing women who are really thriving in their field today on set, and of course, sharing their journeys and stuff. But let's take a look at the society in general. I know we've mentioned the fact that sometimes there's the way society looks at us women and just thinking, huyo, ati CEO, hapana, huyo, hapana, daktari, hapana, cycling. How? No, that is not possible. So for you, Nakulen, especially for cycling, I mean, do you have like moments where people just look at you and think, hapana, huyu maybe huyu si mwanamke 100%? Because we've had those discussions a lot of the time, so it's like, huyu,
Yeah.
And do they come and tell you?
So this is what usually happens, and I'll even start from our Pedalways Club, Yes. We call ourselves Pedalways Babes.
Yes.
So when we usually organize weekly rides, so that at least we have the consistency, we get to know each other and stuff like that. But in every ride, we'll always find only 2 or 3 ladies out of the men.
Okay.
And when you ask in the group, why are ladies not coming on board? Why? As in they always, it's about, they're always thinking, no, I'm not fit enough, I'm not ready, I don't know. You see, and we keep on encouraging, especially those of us who are always consistently cycling every other weekend. We did not just walk up one day and decided we are going to cover 100 kilometers.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the first time now I got into serious cycling with Pedalways Club, I did a circuit from Ole Sereni to Langata. From Ole Sereni to Langata, it's 6 kilometers.
Yes.
6 kilometers, I think it took me over an hour. And then the next time I tried, I attempted to Kikuyu.
Yeah.
That is like around 19 kilometers or so. That one, as in, I was like, I was just going to die.
Yeah.
As in, like,
I can't.
this is the end. This is the end. Nowadays, I cycle from my home. I stay in Embakasi to Kikuyu, and I'm like, what is this? What was going on?
Right.
So there's just always that self-doubt as women, like,
we limit ourselves.
I'm able to do this.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't think I can be able to cycle amongst men. And truth be told, in the cycling community, even over and above just Pedalway Cycling Club, we have other clubs. And these men will always be there to protect you. Whenever we do any weekly rides, and they know there are 2 or 3 ladies or 4 ladies within the group, they will always protect us. Because we'll always find those kind of funny remarks on the roads, especially from men. Like, nyinyi wanawake, mwache kuharibu, you know, those kind of conversations. Yeah, they're like, and I sit down and I'm like, I'm a village girl. I grew up, I was born and brought up in the village. My mom used to, I remember our second last born girl, there's a time my mom fell on a bike carrying her. She used to have that Comerera. There was that Comerera brand. Yeah. My mom will carry her on the wherever, go to the market cycling. And I'm like, I come from Western where cycling is the order of the day, women and men.
Yes.
And then you come here in Nairobi and a man wants to tell you, a woman, you're not supposed to be cycling.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Mkue home kipikia watoto.
Yeah, mkue home kipikia, all those kind of conversations, because we get nasty, really, really nasty remarks on the way, on the road. And I always say, I wish people will just sit back and ask themselves when they make those nasty comments to women, when they see women doing some of these things, do they always ask themselves at the end of the day, what if that was my sister? What if that was my wife? So whenever we do these group rides, ladies tend to stay back because they are afraid of cycling with men, because they are like, hey, the men, they'll be faster than us, they'll be, but these men are usually very patient and very protective of us. They'll make sure when we are cycling, all of us are together. They ensure the ladies are in the middle and they gently, as in like, it's like some sort of like, we are like brothers and sisters. It's a sort of like sisterhood. And that's why, and they keep on encouraging us. They keep on telling us, let's push. And then when the moment they notice there's a lady who is not really, really good, maybe it's her first time or she's struggling, there'll always be that one person who will remain behind to ensure she's not left behind. Because also, as ladies, again, we are discussing this when it comes to safety and stuff like that, based on the videos that we've done. We've experienced that. People have been mugged, especially as ladies. We are always the victim, as in we are always the target when it comes to, because we are the easy target. Yes, this one. So those are some of the things that we do. So that is just something that I would love to encourage ladies out here. Just get out there. Just try.
Don't limit yourself. Try.
Yeah, just don't limit yourself. Try and do something out of your comfort zone. Because sometimes when I'm back in the house and my friends call me and they're like, wow, you cycled 50 kilometers. Wow, you are on Mombasa Road. And I'm like, guys, it's okay. Yeah, I remember also I used to have that self-doubt. When we usually start our group rides at Ole Sereni, and I stay in Embakasi, and I'll ask, is there anyone coming from Embakasi? We go together because I'm scared. How am I going to get myself from Embakasi to Ole Sereni alone? Then one day I just decided, you know what? I'll do it. Nowadays during the week, because we are still working from home, when I just want to release myself from, I just want a me time over lunch hour, I cycle to Ole Sereni and back. Within 1 hour, I'm done over lunch hour or evening, all alone. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll just block all the negativity. There are people who are good, and there are people who are really there are people who will be like, wow, keep doing, especially now when we meet women, especially maybe we are cycling up to a certain maybe shopping center, women come in and they're like, wow, hata nyinyi mumecycle, mumetoka wapi? As in they ask those questions. I remember we were in Kajiado and there was this lady, I think she's in her mid-40s or 50s. She was so amazed and she was like, where can I get a bike?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, as in, you know, as in her, she was like, wow, this is something that is possible. Where can I get a bike?
That's amazing.
Even kids, they're like, wow, wasichana wanaendesha baiskeli. Angalieni wasichana. Paka they call us wazungu. And you're like, because we're just women now, the colleagues was because you see now they expect Muzungus, they're the ones who do
the same. Yes, but for us women, don't do that. That's
so let's just encourage women.
I know the self limitations and then see how
I know we are
can
facing
go.
so many challenges, especially the cycling community, when it comes to road safety and stuff like that. But the more we have more voice, the more we get out there and do things, it will be very easy for some of the things to be adjusted.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then for you, Dr. Shiku, hey, CEO, who they can't keep the family. How do you balance family and work and all those things? Let's talk about some of the challenges. And did you at some point have like those moments where it's like, me, CEO, that is, I can't, like, that is, a very big title. Do you have moments like that, or is it mostly external?
No. I have those moments I always tell people. So on LinkedIn, I have this hashtag, and everybody who follows me on LinkedIn knows that I do hard things every single morning. Not every single Monday morning. Okay. So I count down. I counted the whole of 2021, and I'm counting down 2022.
Nice.
And because I have to remind myself that what you're doing right now is quite a hard thing. Don't take it for granted, but you're made for it. Yeah. Yes. And as I was saying over the break, is you face these impossible imposter syndromes. Like, I think I'm not good enough for this. Yeah. But if you read about imposter syndrome, and especially women, sometimes it is pushed down women's throat, but everybody experiences it. Yeah. I have like some very good male mentors, and they say, yeah, even me, I feel that. That does not stop me from doing it. Yeah. Let's go and you
fake it till you make it,
and you swallow it in, and you do it. Yeah. As somebody said something, you read the environment, but you take some action. Yeah. Don't let the fear of it or yourself discounting yourself from it stop you from taking action. Because the things that you most regret, if you sit down with yourself today, the things that you most regret right now are the things that you did not do.
True.
Not the things that you did. Yeah. And in terms of labeling, I always tell women, the moment you choose, and you have that one moment in your life that you chose to be the woman you are today. Yeah. Yeah. Not the actual path that you took, like I was going to work for NTV, or I was going to be a CEO. But the moment I said, I choose not to sit at home and be a mom and a carer. I think it's the most important job, and it's really, really hard. Yeah. And you decided you're going to go against tradition and go to be a career woman. That moment you decided to do that, you chose to label yourself.
Yes.
And you have to be okay with those labels.
All right.
Those labels don't make you. Yeah, I always say, if you went and found, also if I came down here and found that the building has been labeled something else, it does not stop this building from being NTV. It's just a single label. So we decided it's going to be called Kijabe Building. Does it stop you from doing what you're doing? No. So people will always label you, but you have to be confident enough. And the one thing I wanted to mention is people, the society, community, your friends, everybody will try and put you in a box. Yeah. Yeah.
And especially for you in tech, they'll be like, are you sure?
I know. So I worked in West Africa for a while.
What happened?
And West Africa is the most, like, I feel like I've worked in many places in the world, but West Africa was, again, character development in Kenyan terms. Yeah. Because for me, because I was brought up in Kenya, I was not brought up outside, and then I got exposure from everywhere else. So I thought every African country is like Kenya. Like, people are quite accommodative. We are actually really nice people, to be totally honest. Then I think my first day at work, I rock up. I had left this top tech company. And gone to a top development organization in the heart of West Africa. And I remember I rocked up in jeans and a coat, because that's what we used to show up, like when you're going to official meeting. Somebody just called me, come. They called me on the side and said, now here, we don't dress like that. I'm like, what? I said, no, you don't. Here is a number of a tailor. This is how much. This is where you go and buy your fabric. And I think from next week, you need to start dressing differently for people to be able to
take you
seriously.
So when you wear a suit?
So you don't wear a suit, you like this fabric, you wear a female. Oh. So the role of a female is quite, it's quite defined.
Yes.
You dress in a certain way. You wear dresses and dresses, and you wear skirts, and you wear nice frocks. Even in church, there's a dress code, and I was like, oh my goodness, Kenyans will never survive here. Like, I mean, Kenyans are the ones who go like to weddings in jeans and t-shirt. That you'll be kicked out of the wedding, and so that happened to me, and I'm thinking, and I'm happy this woman did this to me, because what hit me next is when I started getting sent to official meetings to represent my boss, to speak, and I'll be sitting there and they'll be waiting, and somebody will say, when is your boss coming? And I'm saying, I'm here. I'm representing my boss. And remember, I'm this small looking person in a room of 50 to 60-year-old, mostly West African men, and they're busy asking me, where's your boss? Where's your boss?
And also in terms of your work, like delivery as well. Do you have those moments where they're like,
you have to over-deliver. And unfortunately, and I've read like this is toxic productivity, and I've read in the recent past, Gen Z's are again a character development for us when you say that you have to work double or triple to prove your point. That unfortunately is what happens to many women, especially in certain spaces. In tech, you have to overprove yourself that you understand what you're doing, because most people will look at beautiful face with nice lipstick and they'll just dismiss you. They will not think that you have substance. And there are many I can give, not just in West Africa, in Europe, in SA, anywhere. I've gone to meetings where they'll just dismiss you because you're female and you're black. Unfortunately, you have to work triple, not even just double, triple the number of times any other person has to work to prove that you can do. But once you have proved yourself and you've put your foot in the door and they respect you, they start listening to you. Because it is that hard work that gets you in there, but character keeps you in there. You have to maintain it using character and integrity and things like that. That nowadays I feel like people take it lightly, but you don't sustain some positions. If your working hard will get you in the door. But your character,
now sustain yourself
sustaining
there.
it by being
Did you
consistent.
have like moments where you were denied opportunities because you're a woman?
Yes, many. I can cry. many women, many times. There are times when, like, because of my name, so I use Shiko Gitao. In my earlier days, nowadays I say people use Google more. So people will see my profile and assume it is a man. And then I'll get like a nice email. Hello, Mr. Gitao, how are you doing? Can we have a conversation? And then they say, oh, you're a woman. Oh, you're a black woman. And I'm like, yeah, Shiko is actually a common name in Kenya. And I said, no, I expected a Japanese or actually I got a lot of I say a Japanese man. A lot of times. Many times I got that. And at some point I felt like, I don't know how to feminize my name. I'm not going to change my name because of you all.
To fit in.
But you felt it many times when people see you and they don't think you're capable of delivering something. Again,
just because you're
the good thing then also I always say there's those people in any population. Let me go statistic wise. In every population there's that nasty one person, either woman or male. But also there are people who advocate for you.
Good. Okay. Hey, I am so what? Okay, Dr. Edna as well. At some point you said, you know what, I wanted to be a surgeon, but then again you had to choose family or a surgeon, because again it gets crazy, especially like you're always on call all the time. There's no point to just say, but Leon call off, something can happen and they might require your services as well.
By the way, this is and I'm giving congratulations to all the female surgeons out there, because it's no mean feat. Something you can go to surgery and think the surgery is 2 hours, and then it ends up being 5 hours.
5 hours, 7
and then
hours.
there are phone calls coming if you're a family person. Maybe your child, something has happened, and you can't quickly just close and disappear.
My baby is calling. Gotta go.
So earlier on during my internship years, and during internship you do everything. You do the surgeries, you do everything. And then by the time you're thinking, okay, fine, which line should I go to? You find anytime you do these surgery rotations, all other rotations you're still called at night. But these surgery rotations, there's a lot of predictability with it, other than maybe children and putting those cannulas might take long, but there's a lot of unpredictability in it, and it's a place where you can't just live. And I just thought to myself, okay, fine, so if I want to start a family, and if I'm going to have children, how is that going to be? How am I going to handle these emergencies? How am I going to handle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? So I shelved that, and I said, okay, fine, let it just stay. But I don't mind having done that, because I still think it was not really my passion. It's a beautiful thing, I love doing it, but I finally found where my passion lies, which is where I am right now. Doing wellness and just helping people and finding causative issues towards people's problems and going down to root causes and having some humanness into treating people. And it has really helped me to look at even headache. I look at headache very broadly. I don't just say, okay, typhoid, malaria. No, I look at typhoid, malaria, and then I'm like, stress, and I'm like, you know, I look at I'm like, do you drink water? You know, I think better now from a wellness point of view. So it's a bit more holistic. But to all the female surgeons out there, you know, I give them a mad salute. I give them a mad salute. And I think we've broken the barriers there. We've started breaking the barriers, which is something really good. And I'm really happy about that. The difference now comes as a doctor in the hospital is very different from a doctor in the corporate world.
Exactly. How is that? What are some of the biases that you've experienced?
You know, when you're a doctor in the hospital, everyone knows you're the doctor. Everyone knows this is your role. This is what you do, 1, 2, 3. You don't find a lot of biasness from your colleagues or or even from your employer. It may come from the society, but like say Nairobi, I mean, we are already enough female doctors, so that barrier has been broken. But in the corporate world, things are a bit different. And the truth is, you really have to work. You have to prove a lot of things. You have to, even how you negotiate your pay is a bit. You really have to negotiate your pay. And I'm not faulting the men about this. I think, you know, how you grow things. I really try to look at people. I really try to look at the two sides of the coin, and I'm like, okay, fine. You know, these guys, this is what they know, and probably most of the people who are interviewing you are men, so they relate better with the man. You know, they're like, okay, this one has to pay rent, has to pay what, has like to they pay have this. More, so they're like, okay, fine, I think you need a lot of money. But you know, even us women, at this time, especially during COVID, I think it was very clear that at some point the woman also might have to chip in. So imagine if your negotiation was not that good. And there's someone who said, there's a time we were trying to get funding for something for women, because right now we do a mom's club for women in Jubilee Insurance. And we're trying to get funding for it. And they said, you know, we prefer putting money into the woman's pocket than to the men's pocket, surprisingly. That we prefer putting money into the woman's pocket than into the man's pocket. Because when the man's pocket is there, they know it's 1, 2, 3. After that, it is back to them. But for the woman,
of course it will cover.
They think first children, they think first, okay, even the man, they think they
everyone
think family.
Else.
They think family, they think family near and extended before they even think about themselves. So
I see that.
It is, I mean, it's logical to put the money to the women.
to the women's pocket. All right, and then Judy's here with us, Judy Muhoro, who's the CEO, Infinity Tech International. And Judy, first of all, thank you for making it. Now, you started your career in the media, right? And then you transitioned into corporate. And then finally to business, right? How was that for you? And what are some of the biases that you have experienced in your journey towards where you are right now?
Well, I think for me it's really been a good journey. I'll say, because I joined the media as a salesperson. in sales, you'll find mainly women. And in our environment, we had as many ladies as we had men.
Yeah.
And it was a very good environment. I'll say I started off at KTN, and it was a very small and tight knit family that gave you the space to grow and give you the tools to be able to acquire the skills that you need for your particular role. So it was a good space to go into. Then I grew into Royal Media, which was a different role. Now I was doing print. That challenged me as a leader because now you are in charge of both ladies and men, and you have different deliverables. So that was a bit difficult because I did not get the training to transition into leadership. Eventually, I moved into telecommunications. I joined Safaricom as a salesperson again, which was a role I think had quite
embraced.
Yes, and really liked.
Yeah.
And eventually I was able to move into other roles, doing different things and trying to expose myself to different things. Now again into management roles, into partnership roles, which allowed me again to practice leadership and to practice negotiation, which I think I really like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm basically more of a salesperson.
All right.
And which helped me to grow. Again, it gave me the space to be able to try out a few things, to work with great partners who were willing to give me ideas and show me ways on opportunities that are available.
Okay.
Yeah, then I transitioned into business, doing the same thing that I was doing when I was on the other side of Safaricom because I saw the opportunity. And now from there is really facing the corporate world, going out there and presenting yourself on your offering and hoping that people will take up what you have. In that way, I found myself really it's the professional skills, it's your expertise that will sell you.
Will sell you, okay.
Not more of whether you're a lady or a man.
Okay.
Because you are selling a real product and you demonstrate, you get to actually demonstrate the product before your customer buys a product from you.
Like more try to convince them to buy
Yes.
your products.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's amazing because you said you've not so many challenges, but you have met some really, really good people who pushed you to where you are today.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there's some who are like, you too overambitious, because again, gauging from what you're saying in terms of the transitions that you've made, someone might look at you and think, but this one is too overambitious. Does she even have time for her family and stuff? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, before we focus on the same, we have a caller on the line, Rose from Meru. Good morning. Rose, are you there? Rose, can you hear me? Okay, all right. As we sought Rose over there, remember we asked you, who is that woman or those women who have impacted your life and what message they have for them on this International Women's Day? Let's have a look at what you had to say as far as the feedback. So this is Evelyn Kariuki, who says, Mommy, you're the best. You fought the world for us, and may God bless you with long life to see your third and fourth generations. All right, thank you for that. That is Evelyn Kariuki. And then someone else says, this is Mukite Faith, who says, to my lovely mom, thank you for... All right, so it says, to my lovely mom, thank you so much for being there for us. You never give up on us. Your prayers keeps us moving. Indeed, you have taught me how to be strong in life. May God grant you good health always. Happy International Women's Day, Mom. That is Mukite Faye. And then Aluku Jr. says, every home, every heart, every feeling, every moment of happiness is incomplete without you. That is women. Only you can complete this world. Happy Women's Day. Thank you so much. That is very sweet. And then Dibs Denmark says, happy Women's Day to you, my mom, wherever you are. And also not forgetting my wife. Happy Women's Day to all women who deserve. Thank you. And then someone else says, this is Don Troy Michael, who says, we love them so much. My lovely wife, Daphne Akiki, my mother, sister's daughter, and all other responsible and exemplary women. All right. And then Mercy the Great says, being a woman itself is a superpower. That I agree. Happy Women's Day to all our superhero. I love you all. All right. And then Saitoti Ngeti says, happy International Women's Day to all sweet and caring mamas in the world. You are the best people in this world. Thank you for that. And then Sururu Kelly says, happy Women's Day. You are, you're our heroes, feel celebrated. I love you all. Thank you very much for that. Keep tweeting at NTV Kenya at Lubembe_Winnie. And like we said, if you have that special person who you want them to just hear your message directly from you, then feel free to do so. Send us their number, we'll call them, and then you'll be able to share your message directly to that person. But for now, let's take a break. Of course, when we come back, we'd want to address some of the challenges that women go through in their line of work and even in life in general. So then what needs to be done to make sure that, one, there is an aspect of opportunities for these women and also inclusivity as well. Stay with us. This is Your World. All right, welcome back. We're in the last feeds of the show. Time flies, but yes, here we are on this International Women's Day. And of course, the conversation is all about #breaking the bias. And of course, we have identified some of the biases that women go through, and especially in workplaces or in life in general. The fact that you're just a woman. There's one time we were having this discussion about leadership, and especially women in politics. And one of the leaders said, you know what, just being a woman in itself is a problem in the political field. So of course, establishing as far as the biases that different women go through and what needs to be done to ensure that we not only break the bias just on this day, but of course moving forward and even in different generations. So come, amazing women that we're having today on set, thriving in different fields that they are in. But right about now, quick question, especially for those ones who have children and especially the young ones, right? Do you have like instances where you had to, number one, apologize for just being a mom or just being a wife because there's conflict between the two? And I'll start with you, Dr. Edna.
Have I ever had to apologize for being a mom?
Yes.
Not really, and yes, you know, it actually depends on where I have been at that time and what exactly I'm doing. So different worlds. In the corporate world, of course, you know, let's say, for example, you're having a meeting and it's people who really don't, maybe it's an external partner, because we do a lot of partnerships. So it's an external partner that you're having a discussion with. So it depends. If the external partner is, you know, nice and cordial, they'll hear the baby crying. They're like, okay. I'm like, guys, can you 1 minute? They say, oh, yeah. And then we continue. But you find there are others who are very, maybe they've not employed Gen Zs or, you know, those guys who actually tell them to think otherwise, who are very, you know, it's improper. It's not proper. It's not professional. They're like, okay, fine, because of time, we have to move on. And, you know, so it actually depends. That is on the corporate world. As a doctor in a hospital, wow, that is another world. That's another world. I think people understand until when, maybe I can give an example. There's a time I was on the shift and the next doctor hadn't come, and I was the only one at that time. And then I'm called, my son is also unwell, he's having vomiting, I don't know what. Okay, fine, bring him to the hospital. So he comes to the hospital, of course, who has to take care of him? It's me, blah. Then I leave him. But he expects me to be a mother. And not a doctor at that time. But you see, he's come to my workplace. So he expects me to be by his side. But there are people whose children are also outside there, sick, waiting. So I have to also, as a mother, have that, I have to distinct myself and separate myself from being a mother at that time. And
being a
put on the coat and say, I'm now a doctor, and then I
You're
leave
my patient,
him. I
my
leave
child.
him next door and go to the next door to take care of this other patient. Meanwhile, I'm hearing mom on the other side, but I'm like, okay, now I'm a doctor.
And it's heartbreaking to just hear your child, but you can't be there because you have to also attend to this other person.
It's quite something else. But you know, it requires a lot of is it emotional intelligence or something? You really have to separate at that time. And now you just put on your gear and say, you know, I took an oath. No life should be lost under me.
Under your watch,
and you think, okay, fine, he's fine. Now you stop being a mother. You're like, that's a patient. He is fine. He is stable. He's not going. I don't know about this one who I'm seeing, so I better now start saving the rest who are coming. So it actually depends on where you are and what setting you have.
Yes, okay. And I know for you, Dr. Shiko, your son walked in on a meeting and said what exactly?
Mom, I want to poop. And so I always say, so COVID brought to fore the idea of diversity and inclusion. And most of the time when talking about diversity and inclusion, you're talking women, men, people of different sexuality, people of different races and color. But we sometimes can think about, we're not just one homogeneous type of woman. We just released a report on that. I'll send it to you so you can retweet.
Okay.
When we talk about a woman, it's not just one woman. So when we talk about a corporate woman, remember they're coming in with their children, with their husbands, with their households. Somebody has disappeared in the morning and you're thinking, where do I take this child? And that's why I kudos to the many organizations that have had like a crash in their organization because they help those women. But also now with working from home, it means that we have to take account that when I'm at home, I'm both mother and your career woman. So when my child says, I want to go and poop, imagine you give me 2 minutes to show him where he is going. And then when he hears screaming, he said, I am done. I have to run.
Give me 2 minutes as well.
And what I learned very fast during COVID, I don't know if you guys ever saw the CNN child, the one who walked in dancing, and the way the man was flustered, embarrassed, apologizing. I learned that I have to embrace being a man because your child will see your reaction and think they're not important to you. So I always say, okay, come in, say hi to my meeting, hi everyone in my meeting, and then go. And I say, Mommy is in a very important meeting. Okay, or he'll come and say, Mommy is in a very important meeting. Yes, Mommy is in a very important meeting, and he will go. And that is important of having women in leadership because we have eight babies born in 2021. COVID did a number on people. So we have 9 babies, literally babies. So when somebody in my team is saying, I have to step out because my baby is crying, I have to feed the baby, or I have to do something, I'm very empathetic because I'm saying you have to do, and whenever we have a partner in a meeting, I always tell them, please note that we have 9 babies in our team and we have younger children in our team. So if somebody in the team walks out, know that their babies are very important. And it's something that you have to train even your partners to be aware that because we have embraced things in this new way of working, you have to allow yourself to be wholesome. That's what diversity and inclusion means. It's not just about having numbers that you're reporting.
And of course, for so many countries, they've actually tried, the governments, the employers, they're really, really striving to achieve the 50-50, you know, balance. But in the country, again, like, even in Parliament, we've done well. Progress has been made, but still we have like a long way to go. So, and I ask you this, Judy, in terms of the achieving that 50-50, you know, in all areas really, just to make sure there's that aspect of equality, inclusivity, you know, for all, both men and women. Why is it that we're still lagging behind? And of course, you being a woman in corporate, you know, in tech as well, why do you think this is happening to us?
I find that men are more forthright and more upcoming in doing their things.
Okay.
They don't second guess what they want to do. If a man says, I want to do this job, the man will walk up to his boss and he will say, I want this job. A lady will be thinking, how will I work? Am I up to the task? How will it affect my family? And that really pulls us back as ladies. So I think for me, it's consciously taking the step to promote the equality.
Yeah.
Consciously looking for people and pulling them out of their comfort zones and nurturing them so that they can grow into the roles that they are supposed to grow into.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we'll always have the ladies who are very laid back with a lot of talent.
Potential, absolutely.
A lot of talent, possibly even more than their male counterparts, but they will always be second guessing themselves. They will always be wondering, what if, you know, will I make it? So pull them out, and as women in leadership, we have to, you know, take the conscious step to mentor the young people, and to make sure that they realize what potential they have in them, and to make sure we are able to achieve that potential. So yeah, so I'm involved in a bit of mentorship programs, which go out and just see what is it that we can do extra.
Okay.
How can we involve this lady not only in her core role, but in other things to make sure that she achieves a proper work-life balance.
Yeah. But then again, there's also that question of role models, right? Where we've had a lot of complaints where people are like, women are their own worst enemies, you know? They don't support each other. They do not lift each other up. If anything, women are more jealous of the women who are thriving in different, you know, sectors. You're like, no.
No.
So
I always say, I stop that narrative the moment I hear it, because we are affirming a narrative that was put on us.
Okay.
In any given population, even look at your shags. There's always that one madman.
Okay.
Okay. So I've met extremely nasty, evil women. In the same equal measure, I've met extremely nasty men. So we always take that one woman who is nasty in a population of extremely good women and amplify them and focus on them. And we are affirming this narrative by the men, because they're saying, oh, women are the worst narrative. For example, that one person, and they'll pick that one person over and over again. Let's look at Kenya as a whole and the political scene. I love this particular woman. I'm not going to mention her name. She's always been the evil stepchild of, not the evil woman in Kenya's political field, but she's an amazing leader. When you meet her in person, she's an amazing mentor and leader. But men will always say, but you see that person, she's always bullying people. But if a man is doing exactly what she's doing, they are affirmed in a different way.
Why do you think they're labeling her? Is it that she's very ambitious in terms of, we need to get this done? And you see, sometimes people, we don't like that. We're just like, because you know, it's like you're overstepping somewhat your boundary.
Yes, and your society has boxed you.
Yes.
They have said women should do A to not even C and a half. So they've decided that women should be doing this. And if you just decide to do D, you are the enemy of the state.
Yes.
And because this particular woman has gotten a lot of things done. I mean, I would easily vote her for presidency if she stood today. But because she's a woman, she's been labeled, and people perpetuate this narrative over her over and over again. Look at corporate, the same thing. Look at the top 5 corporate companies. Pick on the women who are leaders in those corporate companies.
Doing amazing.
And then look at what they are labeled, even within those organizations. They're going to be labeled all sorts of things because they are pushing and delivering. We need, as women, to start advocating for ourselves. And if there's a nasty woman, we call them out, but do not perpetuate that narrative. I stop it, because, and I always say, I have been part of, I've been called names, but also I have experienced mean women, but I always say I've also experienced mean men. So let's not pick on that one woman and say it is something that we find across all women.
And even Nakula, especially for you, again, still in corporate and at the same time enjoying the things that you love to do, and that is cycling, right? And there's some people who might be like, yeah, but sister, then how do you balance the two? Because again, you might tend to focus on this one, alafu naacha hii, you know, and then start judging you based on the same.
Yeah. So there've been this narrative that goes around like, because I'm more of an outdoor person. Over the weekends, you'll not find me. Because you see, from Monday to Friday, you're always on your laptop, you're at meetings, you're doing ABCD. But you just need that window period just to be by yourself. So you see, when you spend like 5 hours, because whenever I go out cycling or running, I always put my phone on flight mode. As in like, I do not want to receive any calls, I do not want any, that is just, I just want, that is my space. As in like, that is where I want to do. But guys will be like, but you women, you are always just up and down and doing. When are you, especially those of us who are not married, the single ones like us, when will you ever settle down? Which man will marry? Exactly. Which man will marry you? You are always out cycling, you're always out running, you're always up and down. Which man will marry you? Men do not, and that is what, and unfortunately, as in like, you'll get even this kind of conversation from even your friends. And you're like, wait a minute. As in like, so should I now sit in my seat or Netflix and chill in my house over the weekend because I want to have a man who will come and see me because I'm a chilled out chick who doesn't cycle, who doesn't run, and who doesn't do these things. As in, I'm like, I mean, and there are men out there.
You can do all that,
Also, recently I was having a conversation with another chick, another lady cyclist. She's been out of the cycling, whatever, for like some time now, And I asked her, how come you don't attend cycling events? Wow. She was like, the first thing she said, it's mommy duties and stuff. As in, you see, for her, priority, it's because mommy duties. As in, there are so many responsibilities. It's
like others first.
So the moment you stop doing that, and people see you out there doing cycling, and they're like, now look at her. She's left the husband, she's left the kids, she's now all over the place cycling. They've forgotten these men that we are cycling with are also married men, or they're also single men who also have their responsibilities. But the moment they see it's a woman, and they're like, what are you doing? Again, also, let me just go back to that topic about being bold and stuff like that. We've had those kinds of conversations, even online. They're like, these women who are too loud, who are too bold, who are,
they're overly empowered.
They're overly. Who is going to marry you? And they're like, am I doing this because of... You will always find someone.
I actually saw one woman who was insulted and they said, that is why you're not even married. Who wants to marry...
who wants to marry... you are too loud, you're too bold. Because as in, men always want to box us. As in like, you are a woman, you're not supposed to say anything. Even... it's usually subtle. I've also even observed, in this cycling community of ours, even out there, And unfortunately, it's always observed, even amongst your friends, there'll always be that one person who just says things, and you're like, dude, or chick, are you even serious about what you've said? And even this thing about sexual harassment, you guys, unfortunately, and I always say, as much as we go on social media and talk about these things, go in a social setting, a man will start holding you, whatever, and when you resist as a woman, you'll be like, ay, nahulo, he was just joking. You know, guys, observe that. That is where sexual harassment starts from. Because we are friends, and you think it's just a joke. He'll do that to the next person.
Absolutely.
And
maybe
so
it will be something
unfortunately,
worse.
in the society, as women, there's so much that we go through. Sometimes I wish people would just understand that where we are, what we are doing, and just get to be open-minded about why is this person doing this, Instead of like, no, you don't do this. You know, if you do this, so and so.
There's a way you're supposed to act and behave and be and live your life as a woman. It's just too much. It's like, again, what you're saying, being boxed and being expected to stay there. You live there, we're going to have a problem. You know, the way we're socialized. And yes, we understand living in a patriarchal society. It's a lot going on. But like we're saying today, it's all about breaking the biases, okay? And now we're heading into a political season. And we all know how politics sometimes just breaks things apart and all those things. So let's just get to understand the women. And I'll throw this to you, Judy. In terms of that, what role can women play now, and especially now during campaign period, and even as we head into the election, just to make sure, number one, we have a peaceful election, but also even as people campaign, we have like some bit of respect, you know, for one another, especially amongst the leaders.
Okay, I'll talk about us as an organization. We do messaging, and the last election we were involved in sending out peace messages and sending out channels through which people would be able to message in and say there's some violence happening somewhere, and just give feedback on what's going on the ground. We were doing this in collaboration with NCIC and with an NGO, Uwiano. So for me, the role of women in society today, especially with the coming elections, women also tend to be the sober people in society, and they are able to bring out calmness in a situation. So it's just to continue with the conversation, to promote the conversation, and to bring about peace and to bring about better resolution of situations. Every time something is going out of hand, it can always be pulled back in through conversation, not necessarily through violence, through conversation. We're able to put it in and get a proper solution and get it working forward. And women also are organized, so you will find a lot of women groups. So in the grassroots, you will find everywhere there's a chama. So you're able to get more information of what's going on the ground and also disseminate the information that you want people to have. So I think through the women leadership and the women groups, you're able to get a bit of calmness.
From the same.
Yeah.
All right, you want to chime in on the same? Dr. Judy? Yes.
Women need, we need to support women who are running, to be totally honest. We can't say, oh, we want a woman deputy president, we want this and that. We need to support them, first of all. Go get your, I think people have stopped to, you can actually still register as a voter, you know that. You can go to any IEBC office and vote. I'm doing my 1 minute good for the country. Go to an IEBC office and register yourself as a voter. Even if you're 18, go already you have your ID, go and get your registered voter as a woman and support a woman, a competent woman. We're not voting for women
just because she's a woman.
We are voting women with competence. And competence does not mean that you've played at a national level. Even MCA, you've seen this girl growing and they've been doing things in the community, they're champion, you've seen their voice and their consistency. Vote for a woman MCA, because that's where we start. And women, if you have it in you, please run.
Because there's that thing that
because they're saying, oh, where are the women? People are always asking, where are the women? Where are the women? Because women are not willing to run.
And also some people say women expect this position to just come and be handed to them,
which unfortunately is another narrative, to be totally honest. There are so many women who are bullied out of their nomination at the nomination stages, and they're saying uskajali utapatiwa nini, utapatiwa ama utanominatiwa, you know, so that you can give a man. They think a man has a higher chance of being like. And there was that young girl, I think, in the last election. She was really pretty young, and she was pushed like that. She went ran as an independent and actually won because she had done something substantive in their community. So let the women win. But the most important is let's support women. If you're able to, if you have the money, please go and support a woman with your money. If you have a skill, go and support. I have 2 friends who are running, so I'm helping them here. I hope you know yourselves. So support a woman who is running. Support a woman who is just make sure that you can sing of their praises whenever they are pulling her down. Make sure that you are pulling her up, and even if it's at a national level, as I said, now I don't want to mention that person's name because of that. Just pull another woman up. Be the advocate for another woman, because that's the best way to say that we are together.
And supporting one another. Like you said, competent. We're not, again, we're celebrating women, but at the same time, we also have to be cognizant of the fact that there's some women who, you know, are not good.
Like in any population.
Exactly. And it's the same case goes for men. All right, so now that we've identified all these biases and, you know, all those things that are happening that is against the women, and even on social media, how women are being bullied and doing all those things, the incidents that, again, the video that was just shown in terms of, you know, sexual violence against women, gender-based violence, it is a lot. So then how do we uproot this biases, because it's like it's deep rooted, you know, in our societies. Much as we are in the 21st century, it's 2022, but still we have these things happening, right? So then how do we uproot these biases and just make sure that we allow women to thrive? I'll start with you.
I think, as she said, it's high time women, all of us, we came together. Like, when you see something that is not being done the way it should be done, especially against a woman, be the voice. Be that one person who will make a difference and say, so and so, whatever you're doing is wrong. Be it on the ground or be it on social media. Do not be part of those people to fuel it up. I know someone might be at fault, or maybe whatever they did was not right, but make sure you find a way of how to neutralize it, and then go back in the back end. I've seen women being bullied on social media, and the ones that I know personally, maybe whatever they've done is wrong, but I'll go there, just try and stop. Then go back in the back end and say, by the way, whatever you did was not right. You see, whatever you did was not right. But do not go on social media and be part of the mob justice. There are people who wake up and they just, the way you post something or do something, and then you go back and ask yourself, like, wow, is it me who did that? I know, but it's too little too late. And especially, I always notice these things, especially in these women groups on social media. Someone just posts something, and that time, you are just... maybe it was just a joke and something, but how you brought it out was not right. So let's find a way of just being each other's keepers. And it shouldn't be like, I know this person personally. Sometimes I look at people, especially social media, being bullied, and I ask myself, what if I was in that person's shoe? Imagine, and that's why there's suicidal, whatever going on out there, people getting into mental cases and stuff. The other day, there was someone who posted on social media how a random lady started having conversation with her about so many things, and she was like, this was too much TMI that I didn't need to know. But you see, what I told her was this, like, you never know. This lady just wanted to find a stranger to talk to and just release
just let it out. So be
just listen to that person. See where she's coming from. You might not be in a space to be able to help her at that time, but just be that listening ear to a fellow woman. That is the only way we are going to be able to lift each other
I like that. I know we women would like to talk and talk and talk until Jesus comes. So I'll give you like 30 seconds each to just, as far as then uprooting this level of biases that we're experiencing and just moving forward what you'd want to see. Like 30 seconds.
So I think we cannot speak about women without speaking about men.
The men, yes.
We seriously, and it's been said over and over again, and I'm just emphasizing the message that has been said, is that we need men allies, and male allies are, it starts with your brothers, your fathers, your sons, and the people around you. And male allies is not just about saying I'm a male ally or hashtag me too, hashtag all those things. No. It's being able to ask them, can you use your voice and your privilege as a man to speak on behalf of women, including myself? Or can you, it means like standing up for a woman when they can't stand up for themselves. Being a male ally is not a hashtag, it's action, and you have to put this action to accountability. What I've done is, but sometimes as women we sit back and wait for these allies to happen for themselves. I've learned to reach out to people and say, hi, I'm calling you because of X. I need you because of your network. I need you to help me with X. You're my ally because of this. And it is surprising how, like, first of all, they're shocked, like, you can actually say that. And then they help. And then they help. You have to always reach out, but we need those male people using their privilege to help the women.
All right. Dr. Anna, very briefly.
For me, I honestly think fathers have a very big role to play. Because at the end of the day, it's even from the roots. Because for us to break this bias, it has to be a generational thing, because it's been a generational thing. So we need to break that generational thing. I'll take, for me, my father was very, liberal. It's like, I didn't grow up thinking, oh man, there's a boy who's stronger than me, or no. He always gave me the space. He's always given us the space as the girls to do and to think about whatever it is we want to think about and to push back. So I believe if you had many fathers who'd be able to train their boys on how to handle women and to handle the women they have in their lives well. And also train the girls to know that they can imagine anything. And they can actually become anything.
Yeah.
I think then we'll start having a generational shift and stop that bias. So to every father who's outside there, whether you're a father of a small child or you're a father who's adopted some children, the same way we say every woman is a mother, whether you have given birth or not,
yes.
Every man is a father. And they need to give that, respect women and show the boys how to respect the women
as well,
and also show the boys how to work in a field with other women and actually know that, okay, fine, whatever she can do, you can do, and you can also do together, and you can now become an ally, and the girls to imagine and become whatever they can do.
Don't just complain, say, these women have been overly empowered. No,
no,
among them.
Yeah.
Okay, Judy, 20 seconds.
For me, two things.
Yeah.
There is no world of men without women. There's no world of women without men.
Yeah.
We have to coexist. And for me is not to look at you as a gender person, not to look at you as, are you a woman or are you a man, but to look at your competency, your skills, and to work along with them.
All right.
Because you will find the most fantastic engineer as a woman who needs to climb a tower, in Kwale and do something. Do you tell her, no, you can't take that task because you're a woman? But to take the talent in the person as opposed to the gender in the person. And let's promote that.
I like that.
The second thing is...
Wait, 10 seconds.
Self-consciousness.
Yeah.
We have to be very conscious of ourselves and what we are doing and to be able to promote the right thing in society.
All right.
All the time. Every time you have to make a decision, you have to look at it. Is this the right thing to do? Am I promoting the right culture?
Yeah.
And with time, it grows.
It will grow. All right. Thank you very much. And of course, we also have to look at your feedback in terms of who is that woman or those women that you're celebrating in your life who have impacted you. Let's look at what you have to say. That is as far as your tweets are concerned, if we can have them. So this one says, this is Mark Tonyman says, I'm really proud of you, and maybe I'm not competitive in the pocket, but there's hope because I'm still young and hardworking, although to me, just like you have always been doing. Okay, I wonder whose message that is from, but I hope they're watching. And then Beverly Demba says, sister, when they put their hands on you, when you screamed, we saw, we heard, we, your sisters, your mothers, your aunts, your daughters, we are wailing with you. We stand in that moment of terror with you. We stand around you. We hold you. We cry with you. We will not look away. All right. And then Osiemo Dominic says, devoted to celebrating the achievements of women and seeking gender equality. The theme this year is hashtag break the bias. And campaigners are urging people to call out gender stereotyping and discrimination when they see it. As a father to a daughter who will grow up to become a responsible woman in the society, I would want the society to respect her and not discriminate her because of her gender. I like that. And then Jocelyn Macready says, today is International Women's Day, but before we celebrate, let's remember the lady who was harassed on Forest Road. It could be you, your sister, your wife, or daughter. Hashtag regulate border sector now. All right. And then to Mwesie Fred Ambrose says, Mom, just know words are not enough to say happy Women's Day. All right. Thank you very much for your feedback. And I hope that if people you're sending this message to are watching and they have received your message. But of course, a special thank you to my panel. You've been amazing and continue thriving in your different fields. I appreciate your time today and happy International Women's Day to you. All right. And of course, thank you for watching as well until the end of the show. My name is Winnie Lubambe. Of course, wishing a happy International Women's Day to my mama and my auntie. Her name is Rosaline Ahuya, who's watching. She's actually very instrumental to me being here at NTV. Okay, so happy International Women's Day to you as well, and to all the amazing women out there. Have yourselves a lovely day, and I'll see you tomorrow for another amazing show. Goodbye for now. you.